Hello to all of my Scorpios. This is Queen Amun-Ra coming to you with your general reading. All right, Scorpios, before I even turn the camera on to even pray over your cards, the energy that I was getting is that you're coming out of hermit mode, right? And you're closing out a cycle. You're going to be closing out a cycle, possibly with a conversation. Possibly having a conversation, right? So here's what I'm seeing here is that you're trying to be conservative with your time. But let's just go through your reading here. Let's go through your reading. So you all are very powerful. And I've talked about this why in the past. You all are the death card, but you're ruled by the judgment card, as well as the tower card, right? That's Mars and then Pluto, right? The one is a generational planet because something has been going on for generations, right? And so you're trying to put an end to something. You know, you're trying to break some kind of generational cycle, chain, or curse, right? So let's talk about the 14th through the 21st. This is what this reading is about. So your first card up is the death card, right? So this is rebirth, obviously. So this week emphasizes transformation, endings, and powerful new beginnings, which is a great thing, right? Everybody is breaking some kind of generational cycle, chain, and curse in a very unique way, right? And that speaks to Pluto being currently retrograde in Aquarius, but it's going to be in Aquarius until 2043. So everybody's breaking some kind of generational cycle, chain, and curse. And what I'm looking at here is the Four of Pentacles being the challenge. The challenge may be holding on too tightly to comfort zone or old patterns. And spirit urges you to release and allow growth. Because something has gotten to a point of just like staying in a point of grief. You know what I'm saying? Like it's different for like death and rebirth can seem almost like one and the same because you're trying to go through a very powerful transformation. And so you became enlightened while you were in hermit mode, wherever you are. It doesn't really matter where you are on earth, but in hermit mode, a light came on for you internally about breaking some kind of generational cycle, chain, and curse, because you're hearing that a lot of people have things in common, right? And so you are your past influences was the Eight of Cups, right? And so recently you walked away from something unfulfilling. You know, that choice continues to influence your path, right? So you walking away from something and going outside and getting some sun and cleansing any kind of stale energy off of you is really actually helping you to toss fear, all of that to the side, toss it all into a burning bowl, because something got a fire ignited. Something about a Scorpio got some kind of people talking, you know, because people are now going back to their memory bank, and you're still realizing how many people have something in common around a Scorpio. And like I said, you all are the rebirth zodiac sign, right? And you can sit on the death side, but it's better to go to the rebirth side. You see what I'm saying? Like, because I don't feel like somebody is no longer grieving at this point. People are becoming enlightened about their purpose, you know, their 10th house, right? As that you can see here, this 9, after 9 is what? 10. Some people are not going through stuff by themselves anymore. Some people are really awakening to their purpose, and they're talking about it, what their purpose is in life, and seeing things from a higher frequency. They're not necessarily pointing fingers at this person, this person, this person. Something is generational, so how could it be just one energy, right? Some of these people are dead and gone, buried. People have done a celebration of life. People have moved on, but so many people have something in common that I almost kind of sort of feel like, I don't know, so do I want to use the word movement? Something that a Scorpio did actually opened the eyes of a lot of people. Something that you either went through or did, or something opened the eyes of a lot of people, whoever you are. And people are waking up and just using their sword, cutting energies off. They're no longer looking at people as like, oh, they're crazy, something's mentally wrong, they regret their past, they still mourning and grieving. People are actually waking up and seeing something on the rebirth side, right? That they made a very powerful transformation, right? that it's almost like this, you being conservative with your time, like, okay, holding on to, you know, like memories, like holding on to pictures, like holding on to like, you know, in the physical realm, right? That's how people are being more conservative with their time. So it's more almost like a person like who is traveling light, right? So it's like a person who's saying they're not grieving or mourning. They're not afraid, right, to toss confusion into a burning bowl. And
grieving is the
so
internal
some people,
emotional process of...
Sorry about that. My phone picked up. Anyway, so yeah, so people are now on the rebirth side, not singling out 1, 2, 3, 4 people. People are just more like okay, the other side of this is like shine a light on something, like shine a light on something, you know. So instead of just like this person right here is like walking away, like it can look like somebody's walking away. You could be walking away from a depth of emotion, like grief, like sadness. You feel like, you know, somebody is now coming outside. Like on this card right here, on this is the illustrator's idea of this card, but some people are now starting to kind of sort of come out of whatever shell they're in, right, and speak up about some things, right? So yeah, and it's cutting, it's cutting some people like deep, right? And so when I look at this here, whatever your purpose is, you are at a point of emotional maturity, emotional intelligence about a situation. Like, something has you like really cool, calm, and collected. Here's the King of Cups here. Right, so you're aiming for emotional maturity and balance, but your goal is also to stay compassionate while leading with strength, right? So somebody is kind of like out near the water, and you know, like your unconscious influence would be the 7 of Cups. But remember, when we start at any number other than 1, like Ace of Cups, somebody still hasn't gotten to the root of something. Somebody has not gotten to the root of something. So there's the 7 of Cups here. Deep down, confusion or too many choices may cloud your path, but Spirit asks you to stay grounded in reality, right? So the 7 of Cups lets me know, this connects us with Scorpio, by the way, in the minor arcana, is like a cycle is closed. People would rather, some people would just move on, right? You included, whoever you are, would rather you would just move on with something and just go into hermit mode and just, you know, now that the scales from your eyes have been removed, about snake, the duality of snakes, right? When some people don't feel nurtured in a particular environment and the scales have been removed from somebody's eyes, and people say that they're a snake. This could have meant that you were in a geographical location, your job or whatever. You feel like, okay, you know, I've risen to the top of the ladder in this environment. Right, this ladder right here, you got 2 ladders here. I've risen to the top of a ladder in this environment. I can't go any higher in this company. I need to move on. But sometimes you don't really see what's going on. This is the hindsight part right here. Like you got eyes in the back of your head. You don't really see what's really going on until you come out of a depth of emotion. Like somebody feeling like, oh, you know what, I got passed over for a promotion again, or you know, the marriage is over, or the friendship is over. We're talking about the number 8, death here. When something is over, some people think that you're still stuck in a depth of emotion, like ocean of emotion here, when really somebody has gotten outside, gotten some sun, and now you're starting to see things very, very clearly. So that's what I'm seeing here in your cards, right? So something is going to help you to really climb the ladder, because you're now starting to see the difference between year 8 and year 9, 2024. There's a lot of people had to do a lot of purging. A lot of purging had to happen so that people can, like, it's almost like a person just like getting rid of all of the, you know, toxins or whatever in their body from even being around. They may not drink, they may not be on medication, or even if they are, who cares? I mean, you know, nobody's judging anybody. But let's say they were in a very toxic job, around very toxic family members, a lot of toxic whatever. Now people are starting to get out and get some more sun and cleanse that toxicity off of them. It's not always drinking. I mean, it could be for some people. Some people could drink, some people could be on whatever. But for not everybody, some people become sober-minded because they get outside more. They come out of their shell and they start, the sun is cleansing, it's healing, right? And now some people are like, okay, they're starting to wake up to some things, right? Right. And so when people are hearing it, something is just disappointing. Almost like, okay, why doesn't, so you got, looking at the cards here, what you don't see in the cards, where you accept this fire bowl right here, where somebody is starting to see that there are some people who are going to have a difference of opinion. They see somebody tossing something to a burning bowl, they could think one thing, you know. People could be divided. Like, they don't know what to think, like what, you know, have no idea. But still, someone is still healing, right? This could be you. This is what a lot of people are doing. They're still healing, right? So some people would rather, see how this person's mouth is wide open, they're talking, or screaming out or crying out or whatever. It can come across a lot of different ways. Some people would rather you stop talking about stuff, whoever you are. But consider this, it could be your purpose. It could be your inner calling to discuss some things. So what Source is trying to get you to do is, in between the King of Cups and the Seven of Cups, is to find some rest. You're a water sign, get near an ocean of emotions so that you can calm. Listen to your water sounds. So all that stuff can be flushed out, purging, all of that. Because somebody still feels like, okay, people have gotten away with something, right? But Source is saying, you could have been raised around a lot of snakes. You could have been raised around a lot of snakes where a lot of people didn't feel nurtured. So they may have reached for alcohol or this or that or whatever, the sacral chakra, right? Oh, they had a wide variety of things they could reach for. So you could think you was raised around like in a den of snakes, right? And now that you moved on from that, a lot of people are realizing they have a lot in common with you. So that's very powerful for you all, Scorpios, whoever you are, because a lot of people are waking up to their nightmare in this year 9, 2025. A lot of people are waking up. And it's happening during Saturn return. So a lot of it has to do with people being new in geographical locations. And they're going into hermit mode, just like, okay, trying to process a lot of emotions. So that's what I'm seeing for you. So looking at your cards here, you know, the outcome for you by the week's end, a cycle reaches completion, wholeness, fulfillment, and closure leads you into the next stage of your journey, right? Because something has been awakening a lot of things in you that you have in common, you know, with people just hearing certain things. So this week is about release. It's about clarity. It's about completion, death, and the World card. They look like bookends right here, right? You know, your spread, right? And your major arcana. So this is a major cycle that you're breaking because you're actually hearing stuff. This is with the 3 and Ace of Swords. Is like you're trying to get rest and you're actually waking up from some nightmares of just like the 7 of Cups, the environment that you grew up in. Yeah, somebody didn't even realize, you know, like you were having several rebirths. Like, so rebirth could be like, okay, you never drank before, so you were a virgin at drinking. So now all of a sudden you had your first drink or your first smoke of something, or the first something happened. Like somebody went through so many rebirths. That's why this King of Cups here, you seem so cool, calm, and collected, because people grew up in the toxic environments and just everything is around. You know, like those kids you see in the movies that, you know, somebody got a card game going on over here, this person over here drinking, somebody got weapons in the house, they got all this chaos and confusion going on. A lot of people are awakening to what a lot of people have in common and what's behind it, the spirit that's behind it. So when people come across your path, looking at your cards here, like I said, that's showing transformation and closure. It's giving you some kind of closure, like almost feeling like, okay, you're not the only person that grew up around just a bunch of snakes, right? People going through rebirths, but they won't move away. They just sit in that cycle, and you're hearing people talking about it. right? Once it sounded like people didn't know who they were when they looked in the mirror, right? That's the 8 of Swords there. It sounded like people were running away from something, like who they are when they look in the mirror. But let me help somebody with identity in terms of your birth chart. Your ascendant sign, your first house, and your sun sign are your identity. Yeah, so when people feel like, okay, they running away from who they are, they running away from their environment, everybody has family members that relocate. Everybody. Not one family that you know of, whoever you are, all stay in one location. Not one. Somebody got a family member that live over here, this way. They got to catch a train, bus, plane, drive hundreds of miles to get there. Those are usually the ones who awaken to just how toxic a core group is. They're not always the black sheep of the family. They could be, who knows? But not everybody is running away from who they are. They're not running away from their nightmare. Some people are on the rebirth side, stepping into purpose. Their 10th house, right? Some people are not going back to, oh gosh, this person don't know who they are. You know, I knew they looked dead behind the eyes. No, some people are actually awakening to purpose. They finally answered the call on their lives without fear. They're not running away from it. So you're putting yourselves first. You're speaking some things into existence. Your ancestors have a message. Listen to your intuition. Check your request list again, right? Yeah, somebody has a very lustful spirit, right? Somebody is in a crisis. I don't know who's in a crisis, but somebody's in a crisis because somebody feels like somebody got away with something. Nobody gets away with anything. That's called karma. Nobody gets away with anything. Somebody regrets lying to you about something. Somebody could have lied to you about something. So when a lot of people start that talking about, oh, they don't know who they are when they look in the mirror, they running away from such and such and such and such. Some people awaken to their purpose. They're away from the source, actually moves some people away from the environment so they can't operate peacefully in their purpose. But nobody gets away from karma. Even if it's generational karma, like they're carrying a debt that a parent who's passed on and passed that debt on to their kids, they're still not going to get away with it because it's going to come back through their kids, grandkids, so on and so forth until somebody breaks the cycle. So even you don't get away with it even in death and like in a physical, like buried under 6 feet underground, it comes out some kind of way. So somebody regrets lying to you about something. So pray and meditate. Pray and meditate. Pour into yourselves more. Yeah. So you have a whole new attitude. Sometimes it's the sins of the father. Sometimes the father moves on, the transition, and that's what it's called. Somebody left a debt. Somebody left a debt, right? And so in some cultures, some people may believe that it's like through reincarnation, right? So somebody's paying off a debt through somebody else. It could be that, right? But you're relaxing, right? So third eye chakra cleanse, right? Crown chakra cleanse. Somebody never stopped loving you. You have the gift of clairvoyance, seeing things clearly. You know, it's like a curse. You know, like when somebody look at certain people's family, you're like, why do the men die early in the family? Or how do the women, they can't keep a husband? Or everybody's marriage is just jacked up. It's always just chaos and confusion. The police coming up. Some people move away so they can awaken to their purpose. That's what Source has for you. You're either, the scales from your eyes are opening. But it's something that you're connecting with. So that's what I have for you all. That is what I have for you. Yeah, something that you're connecting with, because people would rather you go into hermit mode and just shut up, keep your mouth closed. But it's something you're awakening to. That's like a whole lot of people are awakening to. But something is going to finally give you some rest and just start talking. Something is going to give you some rest so you can finally start talking about something. Yeah, so love begins. Yeah. I keep trying to tell people what the enemy meant for evil, source is going to turn around for everybody's good. You know, the people are finding out what their purpose is, like really finding out what their purpose is in such a weird, odd, strange way. Because Pluto is in Aquarius. Aquarius is just like you, are ruled by 2 planets, but they're 2 outer planets, right? It's ruled by Uranus, which is a very cold planet, right? So it can be cold and distant. It's a generational planet. And then Saturn, which is a very serious planet about boundaries, rules and boundaries and structure and discipline and all of that other stuff. So the way that people are breaking generational cycles, chains, and curses are so just kind of offbeat, like in Aquarius. So it's just saying, it's just kind of sort of confusing people, like, what is this foolishness, until they wake up and they go, oh my gosh, I'm having nightmares. I have that in common, that in common, that in common. But a lot of people don't realize that until they can go through their Saturn return, some major life change, shift or something. So 3, 4, 6, skipping steps. Details are important. What you're missing here is 5. 5 is in the major arcana, is the Hierophant card, right? Leo's rule 5th house. So we got Taurus and Leo, right? And this could be some energies that you love, or they could be a part of a religious organization. It doesn't have to be a church, a mosque, or a temple. It could literally be a society that opens and closes with prayer, right? But somebody could have thought something was a joke at first, but something wasn't funny. Something actually opened up a big can of worms. And a lot of people are connecting with something. So you're moving at a faster speed than most lately, and your angels are reminding you to make sure that you aren't skipping any necessary steps. So circle back today to a recent situation and make absolutely sure that you did not miss any details or processes that could cause an issue later. So you are making connections, because source is saying somebody is missing something. That number 5 is missing. Yeah, 3, 4, 6, 5 is missing. And Scorpios have a very, like, a detective mind. Like, y'all are real quiet trying to process your emotions. But source is like, you're going to be the one that's going to, whoever you are, because everybody's playing some kind of role and stuff. Even if people are racing around like chickens with their heads cut off, just like gossiping. Oh, I heard this and somebody said that and blah, blah, blah. But something about your determination, whoever you are, is going to get to the root of something. Something about a sting. That's what I have for you all. Yeah. Letting go. So everything indeed is out of control and God will hold it all. I can safely let go. Yeah. It's almost like some people, this is what you have in common with somebody. It's almost like people just want you, just somebody in your family. And I know that somebody that you're apart from because of the number 4. Cancer's rule 4th house. And then we got 3 right here, and we got the Ace of Swords and also the 3 of Swords right here. And in between this, you have the King of Cups and the 7 of Cups, right? So something is going on in someone's geographical location that people are keeping a secret in your family, right? And usually it's the ones that move away to a whole nother environment that awakens to something. Now, if they were called to speak on it, they will. I mean, eventually they'll answer the call. But if they weren't called to speak on it, maybe they help in some other kind of way, volunteering, whatever. But a lot of people are waking up during their Saturn return. So I think that is it. I think that is it. Yep, strength. Yeah. You're praying for strength or other people's strength as well. So, but yeah, everybody's not going crazy. Everybody's not out here drinking on medication or, you know, some other kind of street whatever going on. Not everybody is. Some people are really awakening to the madness that's been going on in their family for generations. Saturn is a generational planet. Like something has almost become a tradition. For real. Like something has almost just become like, okay, just the norm that people just talk about. Like 2 and 1 is just like, you know how something is just so toxic. People are just like, oh, okay, you know, that person over there, they drunk again. Or that person over there, yeah, they just, you know, people joke about it, like laugh stuff off like it's like something is funny when something really isn't funny. Not at all. When people really can't look at themselves, they really hate themselves that bad. And somebody was trying to project that onto you, that you hate yourself. That's why you moved away. Or that's why, you know, your family moved away. People are trying to project that onto you. But nah, it's in the reverse. Y'all know what I'm saying? It's in the reverse. It is you and your family. Y'all not drinking. Y'all not on medication. There's nothing wrong. Y'all just woke up. With like a lot of people are just now waking up. They're like, nah, they need to be sober-minded completely. They're not drinking. They're not on medication. They haven't lost their mind. They've been cleared. Even if they go to therapy, you know, something has helped them in some way, shape, form, or fashion. And so you're waking up to something like a lot of people are waking up to something. So that is what I have for you. Hopefully this is helpful. And I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.